right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go into game number 1 between Liquid Sheth and Axeltoss Sjow. We have our starting map as NASL Antiga Shipyard. Winner of this will play the winner of QXC and Night End. And this is going to be quite interesting because, of course, whoever wins this individual playoff bracket goes to the grand finals of the NASL Season 2 to fight for their chance for the $100,000 prize pool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge deal. So both these players are going to be playing as hard as they can. They played the entire season, but it all comes down to this. On Antiga Shipyards, we have spawning in at the lower right-hand location, the purple Zerg player, Sheth, representing Team Liquid. And in the top left, we have the red Terran player, Sjow, representing Team Dignitas. And yes, it is cross positions. It is set in stone. It is an NASL map, and that's how it's going to work, which I'm quite okay with, Gretorp.
Yeah, I love Antiga Shipyard actually in cross positions. I don't know, it's one of the more interesting maps. I definitely think as you get into super late game, although this could be questionable just in the overall matchup, I think super late game favors Terran. And the reason is because you can get that gold expansion. All you have to do is cut the map in half.
Yep.
And you're in a great position where your opponent can't really expand. You know, you have the easiest push distances, and obviously the other player does not. We'll see actually what happens of this game because Sjow is known for his 2-base timings. I've seen a lot of different 2-base timings coming out from him. He also likes to mech sometimes. I've seen him mech a lot. I'm not sure. I haven't really seen a ton of his TVZ games since he moved to Korea and really started, you know, ramping up his TVZ. Last time I saw him was against Idra, where he was defeated by a score of 2-1. It was a really close series, but ultimately, you know, Sjow has still a lot of work ahead of him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, as you said about this map, it's pretty receptive to the fast expand as we see Sheth going for that 15 hatch. And because, like, you know, that ramp leading up to your natural expansion, it's relatively easy to hold. So I wouldn't be surprised to see fast expansions from both of these players. I mean, Sheth already putting his down. We'll have to see what Sjow ends up doing. A lot of Terran players love opening that Hellion play, getting 2 or 4 out, and then trying to deny creep spread, trying to delay that third as long as possible. And then perhaps following it up with some sort of 2-base, you know, Marine tank kind of thing. But we'll have to see what Sjow ends up doing, actually getting a Marine out of that barracks before doing any add-ons whatsoever, approaching 50 gas. So we'll have to see what he ends up doing with that gas.
Yeah. And there are little subtleties of, you know, StarCraft that are so awesome. One thing I do want to point out, it's an aside a bit, but we have this refinery over here placed on the right-hand side. You also have the extractor placed on the left-hand side. And if you notice, it's actually farthest from the ramp. And it's just to delay your opponent from actually seeing if there is some sort of gas. It's just one of those minor things that the pro gamers always do, and it really shows you how in-depth and beautiful this game is. There's just so much to this game. You know, and these two players, they're definitely no exception to the rule.
Yeah, I agree. So many little intricacies, I don't know the word, but a lot of little small things that players do that show how they shine above the rest. Factory on the way for Sjow, reactor being popped down on that barrack, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that factory going to that reactor and then, you know, making those Hellions, trying to deny that creep. So important in this, I would say this map in particular, because if a Zerg player can get creep across the map, that can help them so much in the mid to late game. So we'll have to see how that develops. Right now, Sheth stopping mining gas at 100, using that gas on the metal boost speed upgrade in that spawning pool, and going to be favoring that drone count for now.
Yep, and it looks like 4 Zerglings will just snipe down this 1 Marine. Normally it's the other way around, but no. Apparently those Zerglings do have snipers on them. 2 Hellions are on the way out, but the Zerglings will probably get over to see there's an expansion already placed at that natural. So I do like what Sheth is doing thus far. He will get a good scout out. He will see the Hellions. He knows this is a Hellion expand. What does he do after this? For now, 2 spine crawlers being placed just to keep defensive against those incoming Hellions. And both players should know exactly what each other are doing. This is one of the most standard TVZ openings coming out from both these players.
Yeah, I agree. And there we go. The Hellions are approaching the watchtower. Going to be approaching the natural expansion of Sheth. Going to see the Queen and probably both of the spine crawlers. But again, I don't think the Hellions are going to try to get by, because you make these Hellions, you know, just to contain. You don't want to, you're not really trying to end the game, do a bunch of damage. Now, if you threw down another factory and maybe went for Blue Flame, yeah, I could see him trying to get in there, but I don't really see him trying super hard to commit those Hellions to do damage to the mineral end.
Now, interesting, Sjow went a reactor on his barracks. And normally we see some sort of, well, there you go.
Ooh.
Normally we see a tech lab on that. That's why I was going to say it's an instant tell that something's going to be coming up. Either some sort of all-in. A lot of times you see like a marine, not an all-in, but a very heavy pressure marine Hellion type of composition. Or you see a double factory. And that's exactly what we have, the double factory. This is going to be 4 Hellions popping out at a time. This is such a powerful opening that's still, that we've seen, you know, pre-1.4 patch. And basically what you do is just get a ridiculous amount of Hellions to the point where it doesn't even matter if you have spine crawlers on the field. It doesn't matter if you have Zerglings. The Zerglings die so fast, and the spine crawlers are just, you know, they don't have enough DPS to take out every single Hellion in time for them to just approach this ramp or something.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And Sheth actually moving a Spinecrawler to his main base. I'm trying to understand the logic behind it.
Okay, this is for the medevac drops. A lot of times you see a Marine medevac and Hellion drop. You know, it's Blue Flame Hellion, and then you get Marines, and you just elevator them up over to this direction. Now he has a Spinecrawler here to deal with it if it ever comes, and he can just use his Queens to easily snipe off the medevac, and then he just backs up a little bit after that to the Spinecrawler.
Yeah, and Sheth saw all the Hellions marching across the map and trying to lay down some creep tumors. Those are going to get taken out immediately. Spinecrawlers are going to try to do some damage to these Hellions, but they're going to get through Gretorp, and there's so many Hellions there. Sheth pulling a lot of links to try to deal with this, but Hellions pretty good against links.
Yeah, 20 Zerglings on the way out, but the Zerglings, of course, are not the best way to deal with these Hellions. And the Hellions are being trapped a little bit. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this position, but the Queens are being focused down as we speak. Is it going to be enough? This one Queen is badly damaged. It is not transfused in time. I think he just got the energy to do that. Now the second Spinecrawler does go all the way over here. The Zerglings are going to swing in, but additional Hellions are going to come up here. Is it going to be enough, Axel? I'm not sure. Oh my gosh, this is getting down to the wire.
I think he's going to be able to hold this off. Has plenty of links to reinforce here, trying to target down those Hellions. And no blue flame on them, so that's something to keep in mind. But they were able to do plenty of damage. Let's take tabs of things. Workers killed, only 7 workers killed for Sjow, and he lost a lot of Hellions.
Yeah, units lost tab showing 1781 to 1650, so a very even trade actually coming into this. Now Banelings are being made, and Banelings are so clutch defending against these Hellions on this upper ground. Of course, the Hellions are light units, so just one little hit of these Banelings deals a total of 35 damage to those Hellions. Such a powerful counter to them. Of course, one thing that you need, a prerequisite you need, is the lack of space. If there's not a lot of space, the Hellions can't move around, can't kite things, so then your Baneling can actually do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and there are 2 Banelings stationed there outside of the natural expansion of Sheth, waiting for those Hellions to come up. And a decent wall off there as well. 2 evolution chambers, 2 Spinecrawlers, only 2 little gaps there where the Hellions would be forced to squeeze through. But Sjow just chilling for now. More Hellions on the way. We'll have to see if he tries to get up there again. And keep in mind, Sheth has a Spire on the way, about 70% of the way done. Also has plenty of links, some upgrades for those Zerglings and those, you know, the Carapace and the missile, the melee attacks. Bringing the Spinecrawler to the low ground, but that may actually get killed.
Yeah. Well, Sjow's not actually committing all of his Hellions. If he did before, he would have been in a much better position. But now, yeah, that Spinecrawler, something very uncharacteristic that we see. Hellions taking out a single Spinecrawler. Holy guacamole. Now, oh my god, the Banelings! 2 Banelings, and look at how red all of those Hellions are. Of course, he can't continue on that because the the Hellions just get, or excuse me, the Zerglings just torch up those, the Hellions just torch up the Zerglings so fast. So for now, actually, move up here, and there goes those Hellions. Sjow not able to react in time. Now Sjow is in a really tough situation because yes, he does have stim, he does have combat shields, but mutas are approaching, and he actually wants to take his 3rd base. And taking the 3rd base really spreads out all your positioning. You need turrets everywhere, and he doesn't have that. The mutas have the capacity to do a ton of damage at this point, Axel.
They do indeed. He needs to get turrets around that command center at his 3rd ASAP. Sheth sees that going down with his Overlord. At the same time, Sheth taking a 3rd of his own. A Queen waiting there for that hatchery to finish. And there we go. The muta's going to the north side of the map here. There are 2 missile turrets at the mineral line, but they're going to target down the engineering raid. Now switching to the turret. SCV's trying to repair. Only one SCV able to get able to repair there, and he's going to be doing a lot of damage with these mutas, Gretorp.
Yeah, he's going to target down this one Tech Labs, and it's actually researching the siege tank, so it's going to delay Show's 2-base timing quite substantially. Marines stimmed over, and they're trying to just push away. Oh my god, he actually attacked the Destructible Rocks. That was a mistake. But in the meantime, there are Zerglings over here that are actually taking out these Destructible Rocks. Unfortunately for Sheth, there are a lot of Marines and Hellions waiting for him to approach that base.
Yeah, there are, and Sheth is going to run up here, lose a lot of lings, and he's going to run away immediately, I would imagine. And here we go. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. Mutas and lings just going to back out of there, want nothing to do with all those Marines. 2 Hellions coming forward, though. The mutas will take those out, and now Sheth has to find a different avenue to do some harassment. Sjow with some pretty decent defense thus far. Also, Infestation Pit. So many upgrades on the way for Sheth. We got Centrifugal Hooks, Zerg Flyer attacks level 1, Zerg Ground Carapace level 2, and Zerg Melee attacks level 2. So, Sheth, you know, upgrading for that late game.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I'm so used to Sjow doing these 2-base timings. I was like, oh, Sjow was trying to get that siege mode. Unfortunately, now his 2-base timing is gone. There was no T-base timing. I'm just going out of my mind. It is a 3-base, but that does leave a lot of openings for Sjow still, because, you know, this ground is really, really not that strong. He still doesn't have siege mode being made, and Zergling Baneling Muta can actually dismantle this entire army composition pretty easily. Unfortunately, you know, we're not having that. Sheth, I mean, Sheth, for him to do that is kind of all-in-ish. He doesn't know that that timing exists because, of course, Sjow has been so late with his siege mode. But instead, he's going for a quick fourth, and look at that. Hive is just about halfway done. That's a really fast Hive, 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and Sheth has 81 drones to the 62 of his opponent, and Sjow just now restarting that siege tech mode, or that siege tech research. And something else, Sjow has been losing units here and there that he didn't really need to lose, not really paying too much attention to Hellions scattered across the map and losing some, and that can be costly in the long run. Sheth taking down the rocks at this southern location, trying to have a faster reinforcement path to that hatchery, and spreading that creep quite nicely right now. So I think Sheth is in a pretty decent situation, even though Sjow has a supply lead. Well,
it's interesting. Sheth actually has a lot of timings against him because he hasn't improved in his muta count. A lot of times, especially look at players like Idra. Idra loves to make tons of mutas. Units tab, how many do we have? Just 7. Where is all that gas, you ask? It's going to this Hive. It's going to the Infestation Pit. It's going to the Greater Spire that we see popping out right now. So he's really relying on a lot of inactivity from Sjow, and Sjow right now is pushing out. Are the Zergling Baneling Infestor count enough? I'm not sure. He's in a huge amount of trouble right now. And Sheth, it looks like a lot of fungals going down right now.
Yeah, Sheth needs to fungal and get out of there. Just delay this as long as possible while he gets ready back home. 4 Corruptors on the way. I don't think the Greater Spire is going to finish in time for him to have Broodlords to greet this push. 56 Lings on the way, though. And how are their upgrades? I'm having trouble clicking on a Ling here. 2-2, so that's decent upgrade. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure.
Well, there's where the other gas is. A lot of times we have 25 mutas at this point in time. Not so much this time come around, and we do see the reinforcement are trying to be picked off, but the Infestor actually doesn't have any energy. It has enough for 2 infested Terrans, and that's it. Pops those out. The mutas will die. But Sjow taking immaculate position. All Sheth has to do now is wait for those Broodlords to come up and play defensive. If he can get those Broodlords out, he will be in a good position, I think.
Yes,
and he will be able to stop this, this incoming force. But from now until then is a pretty long time, and still it doesn't give him 100% guarantee that it'll stop everything that Sjow has.
Look out for a fungal growth from Sheth here, looking at that Marine pack right now, and there it goes. Didn't hit that many, though, only hit about 6, so not the best fungal growth, but got a few of those Marines again, just trying to delay this push as long as possible so he can get his Broodlords out, and they are out somewhere. But, skin goes down, and there's no Vikings in production by Sjow. That's pretty interesting to note.
Yeah, because this is a timing where you normally don't see any Broodlords. This seems just so fast. Now, there are only 2, I believe. 4. Okay, 4 out in the field. I don't know where the other 2 are exactly. But still, Broodlords are very slow, and having defensive Broodlords are good, but, it gets to a point where you have to make a stand a lot of these times, and the Broodlords have to be a little bit more exposed than they want to be. They're better at attacking, in my opinion. But here we go. The Marines are coming down, and there are no medevacs on the field. Actually, there's 1. All right, so we'll see. Fungal growth goes down on a lot of Marines here, Axel.
Yeah, that was a big fungal growth. Broodlord's doing a lot of damage. Sjow trying to target those down, I would imagine. Stimming up, targeting one Broodlord down. It goes, but there are still 3 existing. Targeting down 1 more. That goes down. 2 Broodlords remain. Another Broodlord goes down, so only 1 left. And, oh, I don't know. It's going to be close. I think Sheth is going to be able to hold this off.
It's going to be very tough, though. That third is being targeted down. There it goes. The Thor was able to take it out, and now it gets lifted. Oh, my gosh. Okay, no energy on those infestors. Sjow is just going to pull out right now. He's making 2 command centers, it looks like. He wants to expand to that gold expansion so badly. That's a great place to do it. Just plop down that planetary fortress, and you're so secure. On top of that, you know, Sheth, while we're on expansions, he's taken the bottom left to third base. And look at that, a lot of drones being transferred over there. But that's going to help him out quite a bit. It looks like a drop in the mid-right.
Yeah, but is a Thor drop, and the medevac needs to drop that Thor again because the Corruptors will chase it and will track it down. It gets dropped. There are infestors in the low ground. 1 infestor gets popped off, and the Link's going to clean up this Thor. And Sheth, I think he's in a good situation right now. I mean, he has his base in the top right. He has his base in the bottom left. He needs to get those gases in the near future. Has plenty of minerals, plenty of gas right now, just to, you know, to spend on whatever he chooses.
Yeah.
And he also has a good tech advantage. I mean, he already has Broodlord tech on the field, so he can make Broodlords anytime he wants. But that being said, are there any Vikings on the way for Sjow?
No.
I don't see any.
Ghost Academy, though.
Oh.
The Ghost Academy is being constructed right now. Now, I want to just talk about one thing very quickly. Sjow did pull back quite a bit. He lost a lot of position, but now he's going to reclaim it. This is exactly what he wants to do to take this gold expansion. He wants to sit here in the middle and just do nothing, literally nothing, because all he has is these short push distances or these short drop distances from the middle of the map, and Sheth really cannot react in time. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for Sjow to win this game. You can see Zerglings coming in here on that gold expansion. A lot of the friendly fire is doing immense damage against his own SCVs, actually doing immense damage against his own siege tanks. Look at that, a lot of them in the red. But ultimately, those Zerglings will die. We know that.
Yep, and Sheth able to do a decent amount of damage there. He does not want Sjow to be able to cement a position here in the middle of the map. Some Marines coming forward to the bottom side, and they're going to get killed quite quickly by a fungal growth, accompanied by some Zerglings at the same time. And the right side of the map, there's some Marines stimming up to that expansion, and there's not much to defend. 2 Banelings being morphed in, as well as 7 Zerglings on the ground, but this hatchery may go down, Gretorp.
Yeah, this is a bad position for Sheth. He's going to lose his 1 base. The Banelings come in here, but only splatter against a couple of these Marines. Additional Zerglings are out, but not able to do enough. What does Sheth do? He's bringing all of his units to that top right-hand position, and that actually gives Sjow a great timing to attack that bottom left again. He can keep doing this because he has the shorter push distance, where Sheth has to go all the way to the top right and then all the way to the bottom left, and he has to make those big movements, where Sjow, he's in the middle, he goes bottom left, bottom right, done, you know, and here we have it. Shjow's doing exactly that.
Sjow is playing this so well right now. Bringing those Marines up to that expansion at the bottom side of the map. Stimming, targeting down those Spine Crawlers. Nice transfuse, but that's going to go down anyway. Queen goes down as well. Zerglings and Banelings coming forward from Sheth to try to clean this up, and it looks like this will get cleaned up. But again, as you said, what's to stop Sjow from attacking somewhere else? Sheth finding himself extremely spread out right now, and without an expansion he'd really like to have in the top right there.
Yeah, and the top right expansion does go down again for Sheth. It's still really hard to defend this without a big mobile air force or really any mobility. So Sjow can keep doing this. He just needs to keep tabs on it. He can take expansions as well. Things are looking really good for him. And look at this command center going down this right-hand side. You know what this is? This is a planetary fortress that he's making. He wants to close off the gap to completely say, hey, I'm going to take this top part. You can take the bottom part. And then what happens? Sjow has the middle. He has all of his units in the middle, and he just goes a very easy push distance to the bottom left-hand corner. This is exactly the position that every Terran wants to have on Antiga Shipyard. Sjow is looking so good in game number 1.
Yeah, he's playing this so well, and I almost feel like Sheth does not want that planetary fortress to get done, because, I don't know, that limits so much, you know, so much expansion potential, and just lets the Terran do whatever they want on that side of the map. And look at this. Sjow actually going to advance forward a little bit. Going to start slow pushing with these tanks, leapfrogging them forward one at a time at the same time. Some Marines going down to the bottom left again. 3 Spine Crawlers there. And this is looking extremely dodgy for Sheth. Has a lot of Broodlords on the field.
Man.
And a lot of infestors as well, so he may go for it right now. But a lot of Vikings doing a lot of damage, Gretorp.
Yeah, these Vikings are just shelling out damage onto these Broodlords. The Broodlords caught a little bit out of position. And I like what Sjow is doing. He's actually saying, okay, my opponent is out of position, going to the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to try to use my advantage right now of units being out of position to actually push forward. The Broodlords, oh my god, money fungal growths going off. EMP as well, but those Marines were all grouped up. The Broodlords, however, do die off. It looks like only one Broodlord on the field, but two actually. But those were sure money fungals. And where are the Marines for Sjow? This is a bad position. He could actually lose all of these units over here and lose a ton of position. Unfortunately for Sheth, though, he doesn't have a lot of units to actually bust his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, all of his Broodlords died trying to remake a 1 right now, but doesn't really have the resources to remake any more. Marines coming forward. Going to be fungal growth at that expansion on the right side and going to be cleaned up. So this is very interesting. I mean, Sheth needs to get his Broodlords out as fast as possible so he can hit before Sjow can reinforce with his anti-air that he needs, his Marines and his Ghosts and his Vikings, which there's not a lot of right now.
Yeah. Sjow is in a position where he has a big advantage with a gold. You know, it's a good couple minutes by the time this actually clears up, but he has just so many minerals. His macro has been really great this time around. Normally, you know, Sjow isn't really known for his macro. He's been keeping up very well, and we can see a couple infested Terran being pooped out here. Vikings trying to engage. They're actually directly attacking the Corruptors. Is this going to be enough? Oh my gosh, there's only like siege tanks over here. No, it's not. Okay, I was a little worried for Sjow. He wants to keep this position. I think it would actually benefit him to just back up. He doesn't need to kill this third base because the third base has been out for so long.
Yeah, and this is interesting. I mean, Broodlords all gone again, and Sjow, again, playing this so well. Sheth coming from the left side with some Banelings and Zerglings trying to cut off some of these tank, you know, trying to limit the positioning of Sjow, but that doesn't negate the fact that Sjow is advancing on the third of Sheth. And
oh my god, the Banelings were so close to all these SCVs. He could have gotten the biggest money Banelings ever, but he didn't opt to do that. Meanwhile, the third base does get taken out. It looks like these Ghosts are over here. They're going to snipe down the Infestors. Just great play coming out from Sjow. Sjow is looking so good. The Korea training is definitely, you know, taking into effect this time around, and we just see dominating performance by Sjow.
Yeah, and moving his units around the middle of the map here, I guess trying to decide where he wants to attack next. 5 more Ghosts on the way, so he's transitioning into like a massive Ghost production. And late game TVZ, that's really not that bad at all.
No.
In fact, it's quite good. And now this expansion at the bottom side of the map is under siege. Sheth reacting, pulling all of his Lings and Infestors, but all is not a big amount right now.
Yep, Zerglings moving on over here. Meanwhile, the third base again is under attack, but these siege tanks are being picked off quite nicely. Infestors move over here. EMP goes off, making them completely useless. A group of Marauders and a single Ghost over here. They will take out that one Infestor that straggles over here. Sheth is in just such a bad position. He does have that mid-right position still, and there's a lot of Infestors over there, but they're just not doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of spellcasters on the field, but not too much of that core unit composition of that Zergling, Baneling you would want, or Broodlord, Corruptor kind of thing that you would want. So Sheth is really being spread out, trying to be as cost efficient as he can with all these units. All these drones are going to die at the bottom side of the map, and Sheth, does he have Burrow? No, it's about to finish. The drones are like, oh, come on, Burrow, finish so I can escape. And they're not going to.
Now all of them go down. Now there is this mid-left expansion, and it will be scouted out by this one Marine over here. Marine gets ambushed by these Zerglings that are on creep, so never a good sign. But Sjow, he's looking so good. As I keep saying it time and time again, he's just doing these little annoying harasses that that are so instrumental in stopping Sheth from actually continuing on, going into that war of attrition. Now we're going to see a very dynamic shift. All Sjow is going to do, he has center control, right? He can keep there, but because he has a very low count of units, actually 142 supply to 79, what he's going to do is just make sure he's completely defensive on the right-hand side and then harass on the bottom left-hand side. That's all he has to do. Remember, all of his emphasis will be just to deny expansions from Sheth, because we're already 33 minutes into the game. The main is dried up. The natural is dried up. The third should dry up momentarily. I mean, it was killed quite a bit of times, so that's why it still is alive, but you can see some of these mineral patches only have 5 left, 25 left here and there. So Sjow is in basically a position where he cannot lose.
Yeah, I mean, Sheth down 176 to 86 supply, has no money whatsoever. He's only mining from that third. And yeah, as you said, that's about to dry up. Has a bunch of banelings on the field, going to try to make those as cost efficient as possible. I mean, he has to come back in this game. But yeah, down 100 supply, Sjow is in a commanding position.
Oh, yeah.
And look at that, 5 Ravens going over to the bottom left side of the map
he has
there.
Banshees now, and he's doing a very dynamic switch because there's no anti-air. There is 0 anti-air for this the Zerg player Sheth, and the only thing he has are infestors. The infestors just do not. There's not enough of them, I don't think. Let's go ahead and check. 7 infestors out in the field, and oh my gosh, there's the big fungal growth. Infested Terrans being plopped down, but the Raven plus Banshee combo is too much for what Sheth has, and I think Sheth needs to GG out of here pretty soon, because I don't see any way for him to deal with this impending this army coming up.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot he can do. Bringing his banelings forward, killing a little bit of the ground army, but there's still all that stuff in the air. A bunch of auto turrets being thrown down. 2 queens there can transfuse each other all day, I could think, because they are full energy, but no transfuse going to go down. And yeah, this is the end for Sheth in game number 1. There's the GG.